going on, YouTube? It's Cupid back again with the Cupid recap, this time of week 9. I hope you guys are prepared for some epic matches, because we have some matches that were played, and they are matches of all time. So, first of all, we have Plasma versus Antkiller. Now, before we get into this, I would like to explain something. Plasma did not want to win this match. Why? Because he had a plan. His plan was to get Azelf. So, he threw. In simple terms, he threw. Shrug. It is what it is, right? Also, Wisty is back. Wisty played Juvenile to play the catch-up match of last week, and Juvenile was able to defeat Wisty 2-0. Now, that means we will have Wisty games for today. All of the Wisty fans should be, no longer in shambles. Wisty fans rejoice. Here we go, though. First up, we have Antkiller versus Plasma, which I believe was played on stream the first night, maybe, after the recap. I could be wrong about that, but, I could be right as well. I'm not entirely sure. Either way, here's game 1. So we have, lead of Mega Ampharos versus, what was it, Skarmory? No, it was, yeah, I think it was Skarmory. Then we go into Quagsire, which dies to Hidden Power Grass instantly. You don't want to see that, but it's okay because you bring in the boy, and the boy goes for Outrage, which does nearly half to Vortex Vanquisher. And we are locked into Outrage, and now we're going to get confused. Rocks go up. Very cool. Rocks are epic, and we just get off the third Outrage. Now, if I'm Plasma, I'm going straight into Florges after that. And, yeah, that's immune. And you're going to kill this with Moonblast. Very cool. Very cool. Literally played absolutely perfectly by Plasma so far. Iron Bird comes in. We have a whole Ampharos, and we're going to get our own rocks. We don't want to defog or anything. I guess we don't have to. Go into probably Assault Vest Incineroar. Actually, that took a lot of damage, so probably not Assault Vest. I could be wrong, though. Maybe Ampharos just hits that hard. We use Knockoff to get rid of that Eviolite. And then we use Parting Shot. Definitely not Assault Vest. It's Heavy Duty Boots. I just came to the realization that it was Heavy Duty Boots because it did not take Stealth Rock damage. It's okay, though, because now we have Ditto to become him. And this thing will kill us with a Dragon move, but it didn't go for a Dragon move. Very good. Now we can lose our Pokemon to the Ice Horse. But luckily, we are going to switch instead. And take a lot more damage than I feel like we should have from the Ice Horse. But the Ice Horse switches it up, and instead of going for Icicle Crash, goes for Close Combat, and the Iron Bird's able to live, and it's gonna get to kill the Ice Horse, because it is now faster, because Trick Room is gone. Crab emoji. Now we're gonna use Tailwind to boost our speed, and we're gonna just sacrifice the Iron Bird, but none of our Pokemon really beat this thing, right? We go into Mimikyu to use Play Rough, and then we're gonna take Volt Switch, which doesn't trigger our Disguise. And at this point, like, how do we break through this exact Pokemon that we are looking at, this upgraded Duck? Well, we kind of can't. Unless we're running specifically Drain Punch, and it doesn't look like we do, and a priority move's not gonna help here. It's gonna use Recover. Do we run Drain Punch? No, but we went for Tail Blaze, boosting our speed. Trailblaze, boosting our speed in the Trick Room. Instead of just clicking Play Rough again to pick up a kill. There was really no reason to do that. So now we're going to go Incineroar, use Fake Out to stall out another turn of Trick Room. Very good. The Duck is going to go for Recover, and then we're going to go Blaze Kick. It does 21% non-existent damage, essentially. But we get the burn. So, residual damage, very nice. And this is definitely a physically defensive Porygon, that's for sure. But hey, we got it really low. Ampharos is going to exactly die to Stealth Rocks. And now Florges comes in, and we're going to use Parting Shot, which is probably a misplay. But I guess I don't know what type the Silvally is. But using Parting Shot on the Florges when you have one Pokemon left and that Pokemon is Ditto, you don't want to have your Ditto become that Pokemon. Because your Ditto has the reduced attack as well. So now we're clicking Wish 5 times with our Ditto, and we're going to just get crit by Moonblast and die. And at this point, there's 3 Pokemon versus 1. Chat, mathematics tell me that unless this Incineroar crits 6 times in a row, you're not going to win the battle. Moonblast crit and special attack drop, and we did not crit 6 times with Blaze Kick. And Antkiller is dead. So game 1 goes to Plasma. Let's see how game 2 goes. So I see Antkiller did not bring the Skarmory this time. It is not very good against Plasma's team. Even though Plasma does have only really the Silvally for defog. I still don't think Stealth Rocks are too needed. But most importantly, there is a Butterfree here. Bento Box is in shambles because there is a Butterfree on the screen. And Antkiller leads the Butterfree and uses Sleep Powder. Very cool. Now we're going to use Quiver Dance. Alright, very cool. We're going to get up 1. Are we going to get another one? Nope, we're going to go straight for Hurricane and get Trick Roomed. And now we're going to take basically no damage, but we're going to get up another Hurricane. Huge damage. Huge damage. Second, Bug Buzz on the switch to Fabio. Massive damage. Mold Breaker is going to kill us with Volt Switch though. And we needed to be prepared for us to just die. But honestly, that Butterfree did a lot of damage. It put up like 63% and 83% on the Porygon. Genuinely, that's a lot of damage. Now Incineroar is going to knock off the sleeping thing, and it's going to use Parting Shot because it's walled. We're going to go into Mimikyu, and Vortex Vanquisher is asleep for 3 turns. We're going to use a Swords Dance. Do we get Scald Burned? No, we get Flip Turned. And that's going to pop our Disguise. Glastrier is going to come in. Are we fighting Z? No, we are Let's Snuggle Forever. And that nearly kills, but it doesn't kill. And we die to the Ice Horse's Heavy Slam, as the Ice Horse probably weighs as much as a horse does. But it's okay, because Incineroar Fake Out is going to clean up that kill. And now at this point, Toxtricity is going to come in on Florges, and you have to switch here, as Sludge Wave is probably going to get used. But instead, Antkiller doesn't, feel like predicting properly and clicks Boom Burst. And now Overdrive. Oh no, Overdrive doesn't do enough, and then Multi-Attack is going to kill us. Why not click Trailblaze on the Swampert for the kill? I don't know. Probably because of a needed setup. Probably because Swords Dance was really good there. Bonus damage. Doing more damage is better than not doing more damage. That's how this works, Bento. Would you rather do more damage or less damage? Knowing you, you would say less damage because you have Mega Aggron. Anyway, look at this Quagsire surviving that Focus Blast easily and killing with Earthquake. And now Antkiller has to simply find a way to defeat this Florges. And Fake Out's gonna do pretty good there. It's gonna do slightly more than Leftovers Recovery does. Do we use Blaze Kick? Yup. Do we get a crit? Nope. And a second Moonblast is gonna kill. And at this point, I mean, Antkiller loses, right? Like, there's no move that kills here, but Plasma is throwing. So, yeah, as I was just saying, chat, Plasma has decided to not win. I looked up Delibird on Smogon and was greeted by "Don't use Delibird." Yeah, that happens. With bad Pokemon, that will happen. Anyway, game 2 goes to Antkiller after throwing by Plasma. Let us see how the third game goes. Alright, this time Antkiller is leading the Quagsire against the Ampharos, which probably has Hidden Power Grass again. Wow. I can't believe that I called that first turn perfectly. In comes the Butterfree. We put the Fabio to sleep, and now we're going to Quiver Dance. And now we're going to Quiver Dance again, because it's asleep still. And it wakes up, and it uses Volt Switch, but we lived. But we lived. Huge. Okay, now all we need to do is hit Sleep Powder. And we miss a 97.5% chance to hit because Sleep Powder with Compound Eyes is not entirely accurate. But it's okay, because the Butterfree is gonna still get to kill a Swampert for free, and then it's gonna be slammed by the horse. And now we could have a horse on the Lorse situation. But it's okay, because we have a whole Incineroar to force out the horse. And now the horse cannot get Lorse, because the horse was forced by the Rorse. And now we're Flare Blitz on our Incineroar, which is very good. Very good, especially if we can burn something with Flare Blitz, but that's really unlikely. It's okay. We are gonna send in our Pokemon that is weak to Mold Breaker moves against a Pokemon with Mold Breaker. Not really something you want to see if you're Ant Killer, but hey, you know what? Ant Killer has to do what he has to do. Now we're gonna Z move this Porygon, and it's probably gonna do less than half. Oh, it did way more than I thought. Holy moly. Okay. Mimikyu not to be slept on. Okay, but Toxtricity is going to come in and it's going to click Overdrive. No need to predict with Boom Burst this time, even though Overdrive didn't kill. It didn't kill. This is now definitely a specially defensive Porygon, that's for sure. And now Silvally comes in with multi-attack, doesn't get the kill, and survives Overdrive because Toxtricity might be a bad Pokemon, chat. Might be a bad Pokemon. Okay. Well, I don't see how we can beat this ridiculous Volt Switch Pokemon. Oh, but Plasma's gonna sack the Ice Horse, but the Ice Horse does not get sacked. The Ice Horse does not get sacked. In comes Tyrantrum, and Plasma has to throw, but it's okay, because Plasma found a way to switch into a Pokemon that needed to survive Earthquake. And Earthquake Lock is gonna win the game for Antkiller. Very cool. Congratulations, Antkiller. Your opponent, Plasma, decided to throw the match, but that's okay. I feel like you might have been alright had you two played for real, but I guess we'll find out in the future. I need to have the actual document open. Whoops, let me do that really quick. There we go. And now I can put in the results from that match. So we have a 2-1 for Antkiller in the week of 9 over Plasma Blades. Very cool. Congratulations. We will know in the playoffs. Yep, we will know in the playoffs. Alright, next up, we have... Close this, close this, close this. Crystal Wolf versus Juvenile. Now, chat, the narrative is currently as follows. Crystal Wolf is undefeated in matches. However, Crystal Wolf is not me and is not completely undefeated. So, Crystal Wolf has to be defeated by Juvenile, right? So let's see what happens. So first things first, Juvenile has a fantastic wall for Manaphy in Ludicolo. Let's see what Juvenile is able to do against the Manaphy. Alright, so we lead Nidoqueen versus Arcanine. Arcanine is going to click Roar as the Nidoqueen just uses Stealth Rock. And Juvenile just keeps clicking Roar against all of these Pokemon that can kill his Arcanine. And now Arcanine uses Dig because Juvenile is absolutely insane. And, yeah. That did less than 0% considering this thing has Regenerator, but the Mega Evolution gets rid of it. Now we have Landorus using Defog. Now this is not Sheer Force Landorus stream, I have to point this out, and also YouTube. Not Sheer Force Landorus, that is not legal in this league. But, you know, we can Wish Pass. Ludicolo comes in. I don't know why Juvenile insists on switching 17 times. Juvenile goes into Ludicolo and clicks All Out Pummeling, which I can only assume is on a physical Pokemon, because that did no damage to this thing. And, I mean, it could be a special attack, but I really hope that Juvenile committed to one of the two attacking types. Because I have seen Juvenile bring Drain Punch, Giga Drain, Scald, and, like, Ice Beam on his Ludicolo, which is not something you really want to do. You usually want to commit to one attacking type. And now we have an interesting conundrum. where we have a Rapid Spinner versus a Stealth Rock user, and Juvenile continues to just allow it to do whatever it wants. And now Juvenile goes into Mega Banette without knowing what the ability Queenly Majesty does. Now, Queenly Majesty is an interesting ability. It says priority cannot. Priority does not work on this Pokemon. So the fact that you are in on a Mega Banette against a Pokemon that is immune to priority moves, I've got to say, not very smart. Once again, Juvenile seems to struggle with Pokemon that are immune to priority moves. Alright, but now we have Arcanine versus Nightlight, the Manaphy. And let me tell you something, the Z-move's been used. At this point, Manaphy can just hit this Arcanine, and that Surf does a lot of damage. But luckily, Porygon uses Hyper Beam, which somehow magically kills this Mega Autono. And now we have to recharge, and Error 404 is going to Swords Dance. And after a Swords Dance, Sucker Punch kills Arcanine. But we have Banette Mega to use Destiny Bond as he goes for another Swords Dance. Very predictable by Juvenile. And now we're going to use Substitute. We have 1% of our HP left, but it's okay because we have Pain Split to heal us nearly fully. And honestly, Metronome, why Metronome? Dragon Rush is going to hit the Nidoqueen. And you know what? Metronome again getting another attack kills the Nidoqueen. Why is Juvenile using Metronome? I don't know. He's on crack or something, and he needs to not do as much crack. And let me tell you something. That's interesting. All right, we're gonna try and substall, and you know what? Maybe if we Metronome for an electric move, we can kill this thing. Oh, but Juvenile is outplayed easily. As, you know, the prediction is right there. It's right there, right in front of Juvenile. Okay, well, Juvenile, once again, Juvenile tries to use a priority move on a Pokemon with Queenly Majesty, and then Juvenile continues to use ridiculous moves, such as Wonder Room and Metronome. And now the Super Rat is coming in to kill the rest of Juvenile's team, and hopefully this is the end of the game. But, no, it's not. It's not the end of the game. But we have a Volt Switch into Grassy Girl, the Tsarina, and then we have a U-turn into Manaphy, and then we have a U-turn into Palmet, as I can only assume Landorus has to come in. And Landorus will get off an Earthquake and kill the Scarf Rat. So this is Scarf Defog Landorus, because there's no way that it would have been faster otherwise, but it's okay, because this thing right here, this Low Kicks, has Sucker Punch, and is going to kill, and Wolfie Glick, also known as Crystal Wolf, gets, game 1. Just kidding, it's not the actual It's not the actual Wolf Glick, okay, chat? I'm sorry, YouTube, it's also not the actual Wolf Glick. It's just Crystal Wolf. Wolfie Glock. That is the in-game name. Alright, let's see if maybe Juvenile is not gonna do so many illicit substances while playing his match in Game 2. Alright, so we have Lead Manaphy versus the Banette this time. We find out that it is in fact leftovers. King Clab, thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Goomful. I appreciate your support. So we have an interesting situation as, if we go back, we have just a switch from, Crystal Wolf. It's a team full of T-Wave. Oh no. How many times is Juvenile about to click Thunder Wave? Cobalion with Roar, insane. Juve, not priority shenanigan. It doesn't exist. It might get worse. Oh no, it gets worse, doesn't it? Alright, we're gonna use Earthquake a couple of times on this thing, and it's gonna use Protect so it can heal itself and not die. Very good. Scarf Roar, was it? Oh no. Don't tell me it's Scarf Roar. Okay. Well, good news, chat. We have accomplished getting Spinned in, and it's gonna use Hyper Beam probably. Oh, nope, we have Thunder Wave. We have Thunder Wave Porygon Z, and we really, really just want to paralyze this. And then we switch, because Are we Scarf Thunderwave Porygon Z? I think it is Scarf Thunderwave Porygon Z, chat. I'm gonna be honest. Pretty sure it's Scarf Thunderwave Porygon Z. And we're gonna use Dig on this Manaphy, and we will never kill that with Dig. And Ludicolo takes 0% from Manaphy, but it's okay, because it has U-turn. And now we need to heal, but we don't get to heal. And we go for our Z move, which is Fighting Z, on Assault Vest. Assault Vest as fuck Zarina. And it takes no damage. But Banette's gonna come in this time. And I'm sure Crystal Wolf is tired of this Banette's antics, right? As Banette goes for Freeze Dry off of Metronome. And now it goes for Fellstinger. Do we get the boost? No, we don't get the boost because we're not gaming like that. And then we try to use Disable, which fails because of it was paralyzed last turn. And then we try to use Metronome again, and Grassy Girl comes in. And now we lose because our Pokemon has nothing to deal with the ability Queenly Majesty, which is not what you want if you are a Mega Banette. That's for sure. And Arcanine reveals Pasho Berry to survive the surf and get off a Roar. And then we get off another Roar. And then we get off another Roar. No, we get off Dig. Why do we keep trying to use a 2-turn ground type move on a Nidoqueen? Fellstinger only gives you the boost if you kill. Is that how that works? Like, actually? And at this point, Juvenile is being completely outplayed. Like, let's just be honest here, chat. This is just an outplay. Yep, it'll +3. I see. This is a good move. And Juvenile uses Stone Edge to miss the Manaphy, even though, realistically speaking, Close Combat would have been a better click. And it looks like we're Scarfed, because we clicked Stone Edge on a Pokemon that resists Stone Edge again. And now Banette's gonna come in. I should just switch into Zarina if I'm Crystal Wolf. Yeah. And, wow, it has 1% HP, and it's continuing to try and use moves that don't do anything because it's immune! And Crystal Wolf has learned that, you know, this Banette is actually very cringe. And now Crystal Wolf is playing with his food at this point. He was waiting for that exact moment where Juvenile used a move that would unfortunately trap him into not being able to Destiny Bond last turn. So Crystal Wolf actually played that really well. And now we have Protect. And now we have Protect again. And that's not going to work. As Porygon Z was, I think, Scarf Protect. What's your opinion on That's What I Call Polka by Weird Al Yankovic? I haven't heard the song. Hello, Tekadon. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? Anyway, Crystal Wolf easily trounces Juvenile and all of his interesting tactics. So congratulations, Crystal Wolf, for that. Alright, next up, we have a very, very important match between Fabled and Bento Box. Why is this match important, you may ask? Well, Bento needs this win to have a chance for the playoffs. And Fabled doesn't really need this win as much. Fabled currently is comfortably in the playoffs, but, you know, it's not that big of a deal. Also, chat, you may be wondering, wait, Fabled has Tinkaton. What happened? Wasn't that on Calric's team? Yes, they traded. So, let's see what happens in this matchup here. Game 1, here we go. We have Tinkaton lead versus the Aggron, and we need to switch because that's terrible for us. And we go into Gyarados, the Pressure Washer, to presumably click Earthquake, and that does 20%, and we die to Thunder Punch. Very good. This is what happens when you aren't prepared mentally for Mega Aggron. We have a Scarfed Darmanitan using Flare Blitz, and it gets a crit, but that still fails to kill. At this point, though, Heracross is going to come in and click Rock Blast, which is the only move that could miss on Heracross's moveset, most likely. And that's not what you want to do. At this point, though, Fabled's just down 2 Pokemon, so I can't really imagine Bento loses this, right? We have Tinkaton with Mold Breaker, which will ignore the Focus Sash. Also Stealth Rocks. Very good, very good. We go into Seismitoad to force out the ridiculous Talonflame. Seismitoad is forced out by the Alakazam, and Alakazam's going to use Energy Ball trying to pick up a kill on the Seismitoad. Very cool. But that is easily predicted. Tinkaton comes in, and this Talonflame nearly dies after Rocks plus Knockoff, and it reveals Fire Z move, which is easily predicted by Fabled, and Seismitoad comes in and takes 30%. Then Brave Bird is used, which doesn't do enough, and Seismitoad's gonna get some leftovers recovery and toxic poison this Brave Bird user. Now the Brave Bird user is going to use Brave Bird again, and this is a trade of Pokemon. Tinkaton comes in against Zydog. We don't want to get Thousand Arrows here, so we need to go into a Pokemon that takes Thousand Arrows, and we go into Delmise. Delmise is a fantastic Pokemon to take Thousand Arrows with. And Delmise at this point can click Power Whip, and it nearly kills, but it doesn't kill. And now we go into Tinkaton as Sparks uses Dazzling Gleam when, I mean, I guess it does neutral damage. And then Bento decides to sack the Xurkitree. I mean, rocks are up. The Xurkitree would have just died if it stayed in or switched. So, you know, honestly, sacking it there is fine, getting off that damage. Delmise is going to come back in to eat another 1,000 arrows because Bento is, at this point, has decided to stop predicting and only to click moves that hit the Pokemon directly in front of him. Delmise is going to use Synthesis to heal up, and at this point, I think this is over, right? I mean, Moonblast does a lot, and we have Wish. If we just keep playing smartly, and we're named Bento Box, and we play smartly, you know, maybe we're okay, right? Power Whip can miss, and you have a Rocky Helmet for his Power Whip, so you just had to keep clicking Wish and then Moonblast, and eventually he'll die. But this time, we click Moonblast, and Fabled predicts it and goes into Tinkaton. And now Tinkaton can use the funny Bonk move, chat. But Bento uses Protect, and the Bonk move is protected. So now, Fabled can't use the Bonk move again. So he'll just take a knockoff to get rid of the Rocky Helmet, which is very good for Fabled. And Moonblast is gonna crit, but do no damage. Now, if I'm Bento Box, I don't think I want to stay in against the funny Bonk move. And, well, Bento Box decided that it would be funny to stay in against the funny Bonk move. And it killed him. Wow. Now Zydog comes in, and Tinkaton is just sacrificed this time. Presumably, Fabled was like, yeah, Bento's gonna predict me to switch to Delmise this time, right? Well, Zydog gets off 1,000 arrows, which hits, and then Power Whip misses, and then 1,000 arrows is used again, and Delmise just heals, and, well, that Alakazam did not have a Focus Sash, chat. And at this point, Bento will lose eventually to a miss. Oh, wait, hold on. This could go either way. Bento needs a crit with Outrage. Oh, but Bento did not crit with Outrage. And as a result, Fabled walks away with a very close game one. Very cool, very cool, very cool. Congratulations, Fabled, for game one. What about game two, though? What about game two? What happened in game two? Let's find out. Alright, so we lead the fire Pokemon. Very good. And now the fire bird uses Brave Bird. Big surprise, right? And then we're going to use U-turn. We don't want to stay on a Seismitoad. That just makes sense. We go into a silly Aromatisse here. I can't say that I agree with that play, but it's not that bad, I guess. And now rocks go up on the Aggron. Aggron's going to Mega Evolve. Click Earthquake on the Gyarados. And then Fabled's gonna switch as Bento uses Thunder Punch. And Fabled's really outplaying Bento here. Then we get an Earthquake as Bento uses Body Press. Bento has had enough of this situation and is now going to just start clicking attacks. And then Bento goes into Talonflame for some reason. But it's okay, because now the Gyarados can get up a Dragon Dance, and Earthquake at this point does 31%, as opposed to the previous 20%, which is pretty good. We go into Darmanitan, which has a chance to not kill with Flare Blitz at that point, but it's okay, because we go into Aromatisse anyway. It has Rocky Helmet, recoil damage, huge, and we get off a lot of chip on this Darmanitan as a result. Talonflame's going to come back in, And unless it's Scarf Talonflame, we really didn't have a reason to switch there. And it's not Scarf Talonflame. So, I mean, I guess in the case where you don't want to lock into a move that the Talonflame resists, I guess that's a fair switch. But when you come back in and click Superpower afterwards, that doesn't really justify your actions, right? And at this point, Talonflame's going to pick up 2 Pokemon for the price of 1. Xurkitry's going to come in and probably click an electric move. Dazzling Gleam is also acceptable. Rock Blast is going to kill us because it connects. But at this point, Alakazam should just win the game, right? We can use, like, Nasty Plot or Psychic or just Psychic again. And, like, we're immune to anything that can kill us because we have a Focus Sash this time. And now we get up the kill with Psychic, and Heracross does not have a priority move. And Bento wins game 2. Okay, but what about game 3? This is an important match. The Rising Star versus the Living Meme. Who will win? Let's find out. Well, this time Bento has a Blastoise. And Bento is going to click Shell Smash turn 1 and restore his status with the White Herb. Seismitoad's just going to click Toxic. Nothing too simple. Nothing too complicated. And then it's going to use Grass Knot as the Blastoise uses Ice Beam. But at this point, 2 Ice Beams will kill you. And you have to be careful of that. And Blastoise is now going to click second Ice Beam on the Tinkaton, which takes practically nothing. But we reveal Earthquake on top of that. And Earthquake does 1,000,000 damage to Tinkaton. And at this point, Bento just should click Ice Beam again. Wow, who would have guessed? And Bento gets a freeze on the Gyarados. This Blastoise did way more than it reasonably should have. Holy crap. And we predict the Seismitoad this time with Energy Ball. It's already looking like this is a GG. But Bento decides to click Energy Ball again and essentially lose Xurkitree for free. Instead of, you know, just keeping it for later. I don't know why you wouldn't want to keep it for later. And at this point, Talonflame is coming in with the Heavy Duty Boots and the Brave Bird Burts. And, yeah, Darmanitan doesn't do anything for you here. As, well, unfortunately, Darmanitan doesn't have any moves to hit the Talonflame. Unless you're carrying Rock Slide. Oh, Flare Blitz nearly kills, which is actually way more damage than I thought it would be. But it doesn't kill, and that's the important part. Next, Aggron comes in. Aggron is going to survive Flare Blitz, but Fabled has no other tactic aside from click Flare Blitz. Bento decides to go into Zydog and nearly throw the game, because a crit would have killed the Zydog, and Heracross could... No, I'm just kidding. Heracross can't beat Alakazam, chat. And also, Heracross doesn't Mega Evolve that time in front of the Zydog, and it just dies to Outrage. And Bento is able to win the match. The Living Meme defeats the Rising Star. Who would have guessed of such a ridiculous outcome? What a triumph is that. Congratulations, Bento Box. Alright, next up, after that, we have... We have the return, triumphant or not, of Professor Wisteria. Let's see how this goes. We have Timberwolfie versus Wisty, and this is the match. Here we go, here we go. We have Tangrowth lead versus Wisty's Fortress. Wisty does like to go for Fortress, and turn 1 Fortress gets Sleeping Powdered, which you do not want to see. Now, this is going to use Stun Seed, which is D's Nuts backwards. But no, it's actually Leech Seed. But, yeah. So what's going on here is we have what's known as Hazard Stacking versus a Substitute Pokemon. And now Wisty goes into what I can only assume is Specs Moltres, because Wisty loves Specs Moltres, and literally Fire Blast does half to the Empoleon, and literally Fire Blast does over half, and literally Fire Blast kills the Rotom. And literally Fire Blast probably would kill the Crawdaunt too, but you don't want to get killed. And then Manectric's gonna come in, Mega Evolve, get off Intimidate, but Bandit Adaptability Aqua Jet says you are dead. Omaiwa Motion Deru. And now, Timba goes into Gengar, which is his new addition, also from Calric's team. And Crocodile is going to come in and just use knockoff, which kills the Specs Gengar very easily. But at this point, you have no Pokemon that defeat this thing. This horrible, horrible monstrosity of a Pokemon. Crawdont. But Terrakion survives an Aqua Jet if you get rid of the band. And we use Stone Edge because, I don't know. I guess we're predicting the incoming Screamtail? Possibly. But now Moltres is going to miss Fire Blast. And it's going to lose some HP. But will Fire Blast kill this? Well, maybe 2 will, but not after leftovers and Leech Seeds. But hold on, maybe it does. Oh, and it does! But it got off Wish. Alright, now this Moltres needs to hit another Fire Blast, and it does! And at this point, the Moltres just wins the game, right? Right? And the Moltres just wins the game! And Wisty makes a triumphant return in Game 1. Glorious. Praise be. But what about the rest of the games, chat? What about the rest of the games? We don't know how those have gone yet, so we have to watch the games to know how they went. Game 2. Timba leads with Como, which is a Pokemon that defeats Manectric easily, and gets Thunderbolt paralyzed, but uses Clangorous Soul, reducing his HP and gaining special attack ×2. Wisty decides to switch, and Crocodile dies to Boom Burst. Now what Wisty should do is go into... Well, that's not what you want to see. You don't want to see Miss Fire Blast. Wisty what should do is go into Klefki and use a fairy type attack. That's what Wisty should do. But it's okay. Como is at 2%. And, you know, it's fine. It's fine. We have other Pokemon that are faster. But we go into Fortress and get brought to Sturdy. Well, at this point, you just lose to this, right? At this point, you just lose to the Crawdont. Yeah. Rotom's gonna click Overheat, but it's just too late. It's too late. Even Overheat chip on the Terrakion is too much. Terrakion can't break through the rest of this team anyway. And we go for Stone Edge, and it's just not... It's not what you were trying to click there. And it's gonna look like a win for Timba in Game 2. In quite the commanding fashion as well. So congratulations, Timba, for cleaning things up. And turning it around. And you put your thing down, and you flipped it, and you reversed it. YouTube, if you can read my chat singing I am a dwarf and I'm digging a hole, yeah, that's what we're listening to on Spotify. So make sure you guys you know, follow me on Twitch, because that's where the antics really exist. Okay, now it is time for game of the third variety. Another game 3. Lots of game 3s this week. We haven't really had a 2-0 aside from Juvenile. So let's see what happens in game 3. Will Wisty find the way to win with Fire Blast? Well, we lead Manectric, which is really good for Wisty. And if we Mega Evolve and click Volt Switch here, it's insane. But we didn't. We clicked Thunderbolt, which is also okay. And now we're going to click Volt Switch to switch into Fortress. We don't want to get encored by the Screamtail. So that's actually very good for us. We use Volt Switch as it uses Wish. We go into Klefki, which is a solidly questionable choice. But we get off the Thunder Wave, and now we're going to go for Spikes. And Timberwolfie clicks a move that Klefki is immune to. And now Crawdont's back in. And we're going to get up another layer of Spikes. And we're going to use Thunder Wave on a Dark type at this point. Which, for those of you who are not aware, Dark types are immune to Prankster moves. Fortress now comes in and takes 1,000,000 damage from a crit Crab Hammer, and then dies to a second one. The crit did not matter because it would have died to 2 crits or 2 Crab Hammers anyway. And now Crocodile's gonna come in. Earthquake doesn't kill, but the Craw, it lives and it kills us with Crab Hammer. Now Terrakion's gonna come in. Wisty's gonna use Earthquake. It does pick up the KO on Screamtail, and the Craw is banded this time, and crit Aqua Jet kills. Crit did not matter there. Aqua Jet killed anyway. And now you're going to go for your chip on this Mega Manectric as it goes for Thunderbolt. Now, Wisty really needs to just click Thunderbolt on this, and it lives. It lives easily, and it gets off a defog, which is pretty useful, I would say. But honestly, this game is far from over if you're Wisty. You have Hidden Power Ice to do half to the Como. Very good, but I don't think we're faster at this point after the Clangorous Soul. We need to survive an attack, and we just stay in with Manectric and die. We could be Scarf Moltres to outspeed, but we're not, but we live, and we hit Fire Blast, and it does kill. But at this point, Rotom Heat survives. Rotom Heat survives, and his Scarf, and it outspeeds our Moltres, and Wisty cannot win. The keys cannot win. And game 3 actually goes to Timberwolfie instead of Wisty. Well, chat, Wisty got on the board game 1, that's for sure. Wisty did, in fact, get onto the board. So it is not like Wisty is completely out of the competition. Those single game wins count for something, because the standings are based on your overall game count instead of your match count, which is very important to note. Either way, congratulations, Timba, on your win. I hope you enjoy your win. 2-1 over Inappropriate Grammars, who made a stunning, fantastic return with game 1, and unfortunately was not able to hold it together. Now, chat, the other narrative, the narrative that we haven't talked about. Will someone beat Cupid? Well, it is time for us to watch Calrook versus Cupid, the match of week 9. The match. This is the match of all time. Okay? So, I have this team. Calrook has that team. Okay, so what is my plan? I have a Focus Sash Nihilego, and most of Calrook's Pokemon cannot 1v1 the Nihilego. So, I am going to go with Nihilego. Alright, chat, who's ready? I'm gonna go with Nihilego. Alright, Calrook goes into Uxie, and I'm like, okay, cool. Stealth Rocks, and Calrook's like, okay, cool, Stealth Rocks, and I'm like, oh no. But it's okay, because I have Power Gem, and I'm gonna hit him, and then he's gonna use Uxie, and he's gonna use Psychic, and I'm like, Nihilego has 1,000,000 special defense, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna live that, so I'm good. So at this point, I am using Nihilego to use Power Gem on all of Calrook's Pokemon, and now Crobat comes in and kills Nihilego, but I got to kill the Mandibuzz for free, because Calrook misplayed. Now I am going to go into my Indeedee to die, but Calrook instead uses U-turn, and I live. And now Indeedee's going to use Expanding Force and kill Mismagius. And now Calrook is going to go into Crobat and use U-turn and kill my Indeedee. But at this point, it doesn't matter. Why does it not matter? Because I have Gardevoir. Gardevoir, best Pokemon. Gardevoir, too strong. Gardevoir, strongest Pokemon. Gardevoir, strong. Gardevoir will use Psychic. And then Gardevoir will use Psychic, because it is Choice Scarfed. And then Gardevoir will use Psychic, and all of Calrook's Pokemon will die. Very good. Now, game 2. Chat, game 2. Chat doesn't get to see the April Fool's sprites. Yeah, this game was actually played on April 1st. Fun fact. And yeah, we had April Fool's sprites for the match. It was very funny. Alright, so game 1, not very close, but maybe Calrook can do better in game 2. Let's see what our hero can do. Well, this time, I'm like, okay, he had Uxie last time, so I'm going to use Absol to use Magic Bounce. And then I'm like, okay, Absol. And Calrook's like, okay, Uxie, Stealth Rocks. And then I'm like, Absol, Magic Bounce. And then I'm like, okay, cool. And then I use Knockoff. And then I use Knockoff again. And now I'm going to use Swords Dance on the Mandibuzz as it goes for Defog and gets rid of his own Stealth Rocks. And I'm like, okay, cool. Play Rough. Do a bunch of damage. And Mandibuzz uses Foul Play and it kills me. And I'm like, why did that kill? It's okay though, I have Nihilego and there's no hazards, right? So I'm like, Nihilego, use Power Gem. And I'm like, okay, good, it worked. Now his Cloyster has been brought to its sash, right? And now it uses Icicle Sphere and kills my Nihilego instantly. Now here's the thing. I kinda blunder here. I misplay. I go into Indeedee thinking, oh yeah, I need to get up the terrain so my Unburdened Halucha can outspeed this thing and kill it, right? But I had a priority move on my Gardevoir, and I blundered. I could have just done that. So now I go into Vaporeon on Crobat because Crobat can't kill Vaporeon. It's fine. And then Crobat uses Toxic, and I'm like, oh shit, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh shit, oh fuck, I could lose. So I'm just like, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god, oh god. And I'm like, okay, I need to burn this Crobat. I need to reduce the damage it's doing to my team. I need to hit it. I need to hit it. I need to do something. Also, I switched out of my Hawlucha into Vaporeon because I needed to keep my Hawlucha for later. So at this point, I'm going to wish, and I'm going to try and pass it to my Gardevoir, and Calrook Brave Birds me and lands a crit that had a 50% chance to kill my Gardevoir and win him the game on the spot. But the crit did not hit the 50-50, and Gardevoir lives. And then we continue the game. Gardevoir here's to nearly full. And, Psychic. Okay, cool. Now Conkeldurr comes in and Mach Punches me for 10%. And I use Psychic. Okay, cool. Okay, now at this point, I just need to not lose. Now I need to go into Vaporeon as Miss Magus comes in and uses Substitute. And I'm like, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh god, oh god, oh god. Now, it used Substitute and Nasty Plot, and I'm like, oh god, I need to hit this thing. It's gonna kill me. And it uses Shadow Ball. Vaporeon lives because very bulky, and I get off a Scald, which does 38%. And at this point, I'm like, okay, Gardevoir, this shit better kill. Shadow Ball, go. And it does. And luckily for me, I am able to defeat Calrook in Game 2. Putting me at 18 game wins and 0 game losses for the season. Literally wins the game with Psychic. Surprised Pikachu? Yeah. Undefeated champion. I mean, I'm not the champion yet. And I'm also not undefeated yet. But Calrook very legitimately had a 50% chance to win with how the game played out. And now it is time for the final match of the week. Kiwi versus Mr. Titan T. I have not seen this happen yet. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Kiwi says, oh god, I can only imagine it's a disaster. So here we go, game 1. Alright, so we have Lead Haxorus versus Roserade. Very cool. Does Kiwi attack this? No, it just goes for Earthquake. And then Kiwi switches, even though she's faster and could have just attacked. And now it uses Outrage. Okay, cool. Outrage. You should just go into your Fairy type and live. But Kiwi instead goes for Zebstrika and dies. And now it's confused, and we go into Stack Attacka and die to Earthquake that we knew it had. And now Kiwi goes into Chandelure, and oh good, it hurt itself in its confusion. And we used Psychic instead of Shadow Ball because Psychic does not kill, but Shadow Ball would have. And Earthquake kills us, and now we're not confused anymore, and Poison Jab does 83% to the Sylveon that we could have used 5 Pokemon ago to beat this thing. And now Kiwi's entire team is dead, and Mr. Titan T has a Beedrill. So, interesting game 1. Interesting game 1, that's for sure. Maybe Kiwi will clean things up a little bit in game 2. Maybe, it's possible. It is possible. Alright, let's see what happens in game 2. Alright, we have, this time, Starmie lead versus this thing, and Starmie uses Ice Beam. Amazing. Good job, Kiwi. You're up a Pokemon. Now you can use Ice Beam on this, but it's Scarf. But it's okay, because you can use Ice Beam on it, and it lives. How did it live? How could it live? But it's okay, because we also lived. And now we're Scarfed, but we also knew he was Scarfed, and Kiwi decides to go into Chandelure to take a lot of damage, and then use Hidden Power, I assume Ice, and then get Pursuit Trapped by Beedrill, which is something that you haven't seen. I feel like I've been hit by a bus. Hi, Jinhee. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing today? And the bee is on the knee, I think. Is that what the joke is? The bee is on the knee, and it's about to sting. But it's okay, because we have Comfy. And, I mean, we have Toxic Comfy. So at this point, like, Kiwi should probably go into Stack Attacka because it walls this thing, but Kiwi's just staying in with Sylveon. And now the Sylveon's getting set up on, and Kiwi's going for Hidden Power. Fire on a water type. And now at this point, we're gonna go into our Roserade, which kills this. Very good. And we use Leaf Storm, which kills this. Very good. Good job, Kiwi. You did it. Alright, now we just need to not blunder the rest of the game to this Beedrill. And we sacrifice our Roserade, blundering the rest of the game on the spot. We go into Stack Attacka. Do we have a Steel move? Well, it didn't matter because we died to Earthquake. And unlucky for Kiwi, this also dies. And Tony Two Tusk does it again to Kiwi. And Kiwi is defeated 2-0. Unlucky for Kiwi. Very, very unlucky. And that concludes the matches for this week's recap. Somehow Kitsune and Zexal have not played each other yet. And yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I'm probably going to talk to Kitsune about that after stream today, and we're going to see what happens. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the recap of week 9, and I hope you guys will be there for week 10. I am sure that you guys will enjoy the outcomes of week 10. All right. See you later, YouTube. Peace.